Hello, this is the Sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker, and today is Monday, September 19th, 2022. Possibility of showers today. Right now, the temperature is around 66 degrees, going up to 86. Air quality is good. Talking about masks, it's still my suggestion. If your positivity rate is above 5%, to wear it when you go out, taking care of your business. And now that I think about it, a little bit of hand sanitizer might not hurt either. According to the latest comment from the president, the pandemic is over. Of course, there are other organizations weighing in. World Health, CDC, suggests that the numbers are still being compiled, but there is a drop in fatalities and I guess in the positivity rate across the country. But still, you like to have it at 5% or less. So if you have any questions about your personal health related to COVID-19, you can always consult with your physician. And if anything else needs to be offered, you can take advantage of it. 2 vaccines and a booster, and I believe for certain people, another booster is being offered. So it might behoove you to find out if you are one of those people that needs that next booster shot. Before I forget, which I so often do, I'm inviting you, if you're watching from Facebook, to like, comment, and share down below. And if you are watching the program, Google/YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. That was the word that kept slipping my mind. Like, comment, and subscribe. YouTube invites you to do that. I do too. I wanted to, well, the news this weekend is kind of a repeat of what happened over the weekend. You got your sports activities. Football was second week, and you got the war in Ukraine. Ukrainians are kind of turning that around a little bit. You got Putin's comments to the representative from India that came, and they sat down together, and continues. But something happened, and I was going to talk about it, but I was going to talk about it with my family members to see if that same thing had happened to them. Then I decided, well, I'll wait. So this is about how many of you people in the viewing audience, or how many people you know somebody that received a notice about an increase in rent/mortgage. Letter came in the mail, as of October 1st, your rent will be going up X amount. Needless to say, when I received mine, I was duly shocked. I mean, rent, you get notices, sometimes it's up a few dollars, sometimes it's down a few dollars. But this thing is like, boom, this jump is like, in my history, as far as I can tell, I remember, as an adult on my own, paying my own rent, I never seen a rent increase this high at one time. So I got to wondering, I said, well, is anybody else getting this notice or what? And I'm down here like in the grassroots trenches type deal, or the upper crust people getting the same thing about their mortgage or what? So anyway, to kind of put things where it can be handled, I said, well, I'm not going to ask nobody. I'm going to Google it. So I did. And the question that I asked was, is there a rent increase going on across the United States? Come to find out, there is. And there was an article on Sane published by Worldwide ERC, and it's short, but it's very, very much to the point. So I'm going to share it to you verbatim. But it's dated August, and it's not really a but it's dated August the 27th, 2022. I received my notice in the mail last month, July 27th, 2022, and I received my notice in the mail in August. So here we go. Mortgage rates are more than double what they were a year ago, as the Federal Reserve's fight against inflation has resulted in higher buying costs. They have, however, been volatile, with some severe drops from week to week, even as the supply of houses for sale begins to rise and housing markets across the country begin to cool. Home prices remain at historic highs. Renters have also been impacted by the volatile housing market. In almost any city throughout the country, rent has increased by double digits. And that's what I experienced. Never happened before. And there's a severe lack of inventory. According to Rent Cafe, you're probably familiar with the term, the vacancy rate in the United States is less than 5%. With more than a dozen renters chasing any available apartment. Because the first thing people see when rent's going up, I'm going to go find me another place. All right, that takes care of that. This scarcity has caused extraordinarily high rents. In New York, the median rent an all-time high of $4,000 a month in May. Now, see, when I read those kind of numbers, I wonder, well, what kind of money are you making that your rent is $4,000 a month and you still meeting all your other expenses? So what is rent, like a third? Food is a third, and so forth and so on. So you're making like $12,000, $15,000 a month. Anyway, and that's the median. That's the median. According to Douglas Elliman data. According to Redfin, the typical asking rent in the United States surpassed $2,000 for the first time that same month. Americans seeking to buy a new house face an unfavorable market with rising mortgage rates, housing shortages, and pricey homes. Even renters who aren't yet looking to buy may be affected by home buying affordability issues because their rent costs could jump. As house values rise, so does rent. According to some experts, the coronavirus pandemic has significantly impacted the present state of the housing and rental market. After COVID-19 passed, a large number of people began working remotely. For many people, life in the city was becoming too cramped. Various individuals attempted to flee from urban settings for more bucolic surroundings or simply for room to breathe. Mortgage rates fell, resulting in a large number of first-time borrowers. However, for a long time after the pandemic, new housing construction was effectively halted, and supply shortages still affect development. When the demand for houses outstripped the supply, home prices began to rise rapidly. Since the spring of 2020, the rental market has been on a roller coaster ride with no end in sight. As people fled to safer areas, rents dropped in cities like New York and vacancies increased. Flexibility and freebies, including months of free rent, became the norm. Those discounts, however, vanished soon after, and New York's rents are now equivalent to those seen in 2019. Some markets like that in Miami never saw a significant decrease in rent because renters from other cities flooded in to work remotely. Rent prices in Florida, for example, have risen steadily because of a movement to the state during the pandemic's peak. Renters in Florida are now suffering the effects of inflation in addition to rapidly increasing rent costs. In May, New York City's rent rose 24% from the same month last year, according to Redfin. In addition, the number is far higher in other areas, with rents in Austin, Texas, rising 48% year over year. Overall, Redfin discovered that the median monthly rent in the United States surpassed $2,000 for the first time in May 2022. The scarcity of rental places is largely responsible for the low cost. According to a June study from Rent Cafe, 95.5% of rentals were taken in the first half of 2022. According to the same data, vacant apartments are typically filled within 35 days. There's usually a wait of 14 renters for every single apartment on the market. With few appealing choices, renters who may have relocated recently have decided to stay put. Ergo, me. According to Rent Cafe, more than 62% of tenants have renewed their leases. This suggests that a market with long-standing shortages of new homes will have less accessible inventory. According to economists, rent prices will continue to rise for the next 2 or 3 years. In the near term or long term, things do not appear to be in their favor. Rising mortgage rates will cause some purchasers to leave the market, putting additional strain on the rental sector. Fewer people will relocate when rental prices rise, as fewer individuals can afford them. With inventory shortages continuing to grow, renters have few alternatives. Renters compare buying versus renting. Whether it feels like a buyer's market or not, it is. According to the National Association of Realtors, in May, the median house price in the United States hit $400,000 for the first time. According to Redfin, bidding wars are responsible for 55% of home sales in the 4-week period ending June 19th, up from 53 during the same period last year. Buyers may wait out the summer or spring of the following year if they receive so many conflicting signals. You'll have to pay more money each month than you would have if you had bought a few months ago, since your mortgage rate will be higher. However, the low interest rates of 2020 and 2021 were not entirely beneficial. They accelerated a runaway home price train, pushing the limits of affordability. Soon purchasers may be in a far superior position than they have been in a long time. Rates vary, and unlike the price of a house, which is fixed, the mortgage rate is not. According to reports, real estate agents who make their money through selling homes are enthusiastic about purchasing right now. It is no surprise that realtors are optimistic about buying now, as they earn their living through home sales. As the market slows down, it might revert to a pre-pandemic normal pattern in which the houses take months to sell and prices gradually rise. Buyers might be able to begin requesting appraisals, inspections, and mortgage contingencies right away. No matter how much more inventory they acquire, customers will perhaps be able to compare a few alternatives before making a selection. So that's your renter/mortgage scenario presently, as the country experiences a raise in the rent. Worldwide ERC Sometimes when you have questions and you ask and you just say Google it, you just gotta kind of phrase the question to get the answer and the details that you want to have. So that was it. So I got to thinking, I said, okay, well, yeah, we just had the stimulus checks and keep hearing about the stimulus checks, but how many stimulus checks did you get? I got one. But the way they were talking, I was supposed to get at least one or two or maybe even three more. But I did get one. Okay, so I'll kind of leave that one alone. Next thing, we did get COLA, cost of living increase. That was at the beginning of this year. But it seems like it came in and somehow or another it went like right back out. So I'm like saying all this to say, when I heard about the rent increase, I was like, so you want me to pay this much more on this same money that I got right now? So I said, yeah, I guess they do. So here we are, Monday, September 19th, 2022. This is the Side Show. I'm Theodore Parker. That's it. Hashtag.